up everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. It's a pretty exciting moment for both of our side by sides. Finally got around to getting the halo lockers for our Visco diffs. It's been a little over a month of waiting. They were on back order, so they finally came yesterday. This is everything that you get in the kit. You got a wiring harness here, the actuator, the switch, hardware kit with some the spring for the actuator, some new shims, some O-rings. That's a good looking halo locker side case cover, isn't it? But this is where we're at right now. I have to replace my AR and bushings while I have it disassembled, so we're not going to bore you with that. We already did a video of that. So I have it tore down to this part. Basically what we did was we took the hub off, took the brakes off, took the tie rod off of here, unbolted the lower A-arm there. This just pushes through, and there's a bolt that kind of clamps on to this piece here. You drop that out of the way, unbolt your shock, and we have it held up with a ratchet strap. And then you can lift this A-arm up enough to slide the axle out of the hub, which you're gonna have to take if you have the DS model, where this crossbar and the A-arm is up here. You're gonna have to cut it and move it down. I think they say 4 inches, because that actuator sits right in here. So if you have the base model like we do, you're gonna have to cut that off, move it down. So this has to come off anyway, and my bushings are starting to wear out. And I'm rated at like 5,900 and some odd miles, so my bushings lasted almost 6,000 miles. So while I have it tore down this way, I'm just gonna replace them. I'll take you over to Sherry's here and I'll show you what I mean by that crossbar. You can see it's here, and it was up here, which would have hit the actuator there. So you just cut that off, move it back, re-weld it. I have a welder right there, so it's not really that big of a deal for us to go ahead and do that. Got some paint here. It's a close enough match. So we're gonna go ahead and pop the axle out. We're gonna go ahead and do that. I already drained the fluid out of the diff. So actually I'll take the A-arm. We'll take the A-arm off first, and then we'll go ahead and pop the axle out for you, and then we'll get that diff bolt out. Another thing to note, I guess I should have told you, is your brake line. You'll have to drill the rivet out here and here, and then this is a 10mm. And go ahead and pull that out. And then a little bit later on, after we do this, we'll cut this, move it down, and I'll show you guys that. So hopefully this axle comes out. And it didn't. think what I'll do is try to push it out from the other side. Thank you. Grab a hammer. There is a pin that goes through here, but if you get a skinny enough screwdriver, you can get through there and kind of pop it out. Did it come out any?
Yep, it's out like a 1/4 inch.
All right. That should do it. There we go. Axles look pretty good. A little greasy. Good. Set that aside. And pull the vent tube off. That out of the way. And the let me see that, I'll show that back in here. Here's your front drive shaft that comes up through here. You'll have to take that bolt, take it out. I think it's maybe a 12. Not really sure. 13. Yeah, it's a 13. So you take that 13 bolt out, and I'm probably gonna have to cut because I'm gonna need Sherry on the other side to hold a ratchet, and me on this side. So as soon as we get that off, we'll be right back. All right. You see, we got that bolt out, and we'll come under here. We'll take those 4 bolts out, and then we should be able to slide that diff up, pull it off the slip yoke there, and hopefully pull the diff out. Not the easiest thing to get in to do. There it is. Up here. See that? Come off of there. Set that out of the way. Now you can try to pull this up out of here. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this over. We're going to pull this side case off, and we're going to start replacing some stuff and making it a locking differential. So stay tuned, and I'll get this set up, and I'll get some tools over here, and we'll start tearing it apart and let you see the inside and the process of switching everything over to a locking diff. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in a second. Alright, we're back. This is 12 millimeter. We're gonna run all these off. Inside of this there is a O-ring that makes it kind of hard to move. So I take a little brass or a aluminum hammer and tap this around so I can get underneath it. Get screwdriver here. Get underneath here and work it around, get it popped up. Be careful not to score anything with the screwdriver. I don't want to mess anything up. Here's your old side case. You want this washer because you got to reuse this. Just go ahead and set it on here, because I'm pretty sure that's where it goes. Set this aside because you won't need it anymore.
Your O-ring.
Oh yeah. Luckily Sherry's here. Give me the pick. There's an O-ring on here that you have to save. Waiting for Sherry to get me the pick. There you go. Pull this out. Here you can do it. This O-ring goes around the new one. Let's go ahead and put that on now. You can see there. We're going to pull this out. I'm going to set this aside for now. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to take all these bolts off up here. There is two. Thank you. There's two Allen wrenches on the outside, which are really hard to get off. I think they have Loctite on them. That one and this one. These are alignment bolts from the factory. We're going to run these off. Alright, now that you have these two bolts, Allen head bolts off, you'll run these off here. You're not going to need these anymore, so you can get rid of these or throw them in your toolbox. And Sherry will take them. And that was for your ring bolt, or your ring gear bolts there. Let that down here. You're going to take this top cap off here. You're going to take this gear out. You need this gear. You're going to reuse it. It's got a bunch of Visco goo on it. Clean it off the best you can.
I'll take that other piece if you're done with it.
Yeah, this piece you don't need anymore. You can set it aside, use it as a paperweight. Set this gear here for now. And this, you got to pull all your clutches out. Pull all this out. You're not going to need these anymore. Set them aside. Take that. This is what you're left with right now. That's what the inside of your Visco looks like. You can see just a little bit of wiggle play in this gear, and that's what they provide you new shims with. You'll see that. We'll take this pin off next and replace that. There. My snap ring pliers. I'm gonna take this snap ring off here. I'm gonna get a close up here, Sherry. You're going to pull this pin out like so. You're going to spin this gear around and pull this shim out. Disregard that because you're not going to need it. And you're going to use their supplied shims. Get a little bit of grease on it, or the oil on it. Put this shim back in. Go ahead and do the other one. Put that in. And then you're done with that. Go ahead and line that up. Set your pin back through it. Put your snap ring back on it, and this part's done. There you go. Now they say it's shimmed properly. There's very little play in it. So that part's done. So I'm going to take a break here a second and get my hands cleaned off so I can handle some of these newer parts. Alright guys, so we're back. Clean my hands off a little bit. I don't want to get a bunch of dirty Visco stuff on the new parts. So the step we're at now is you grab this new piece here, and the big supplied washer goes on there. The part that you saved out of the diff goes in here, and then you take their supplied locking gear, drop it on like that, and then you take this part, put it on here, line it up, and then you take your ring gear and you slide your ring gear back down on here ever so gently so it doesn't bind up on you. Alright, something like that. Flip it over. Gonna line up your holes here. I'm just gonna throw one bolt in for now just to hold it up for a minute. Alright, you're gonna take the two alignment bolts that you took out earlier. You're going to put them into the beveled part. You can see it's beveled. You're going to thread them back in. And then what you're going to do is the bolts that they sent you right here in these washers. See them? This is what it looks like. You're going to put red Loctite on these and run them down through, and they get torqued to 32 foot-pounds. And we're going to go ahead and do that now, and then we'll be back. Alright, so what we did was took the torque wrench, went around through here, obviously in a crisscross pattern, torqued them all down to 32. Now you're ready to set it back in the diff. Make sure nothing binds, of course. And then you're going to take your, I'm guessing it's the locking mechanism. Looks like it slides into the 4 holes to lock it. with your shift fork. Set that there. And then the shim that you took off earlier that I mentioned about keeping, you're going to put it back on there. And you're going to take a little bit of grease, or not grease, I keep saying grease, diff fluid, put around there to help a little bit. And you're going to slide this back in. Don't forget about your O-ring. It's not as easy as it, there we go. And so you got to go over this shaft and this shaft in here. And then once you get to the O-ring kind of hangs it up. So you can go around and line your holes up and then bump it down into place. And it's down. Nothing's on a bind. We're going to throw some blue Loctite on these. Thread these ones in. Get this all bolted down. And then we'll be right back to show you guys how to put the actuator and stuff on. Alright. We went around. Let that tighten down. This is the O-ring that they give you. And there's a slot that the O-ring goes down into. If you guys can see that on the camera. And it goes in there. This spring goes on like this. And then this goes on top of it. And you gotta hold this down. And this is like a split ring. And it goes around this slot to hold the spring in. I don't know if I'll be able to do it by myself. I'll give it a try, and if not, we'll have to cut the camera and Sherry will have to help me. So this is what we got. You can see that there. And then you take this, and the long, you can see the short side and the long side. The long side goes towards the breather nipple. And it gets bolted down with the supplied Allen heads that they give you. At this point, go ahead and we'll Teflon tape this. Thread this nipple in here. And then your actuator, I would wait until you put it in the machine. That way it's not in the way of your A-arm. And then once your A-arm and everything's put back in, you'll put this in. It has an O-ring on it right here. They give you other two 10mm bolts. You'll bolt that down. And then your switch, it's color coded. It has a label on it matched up with the wiring color. And then that's pretty much it. You're ready to, that's all there is to it. You're ready to bolt it back into the machine. I'm probably not going to show you that part because I have to replace my A-arm bushings and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and show you Sherry's, which I did in the beginning of the video, but
You want me to do it?
yeah, go ahead and kick the actuator on. That was it locking in. Good. And that's it unlocking. And there's your vent line or your breather. And that's pretty much it. It's actually pretty simple. I thought it was going to be harder than it was. I did call. There are no instructions in the package that they send you. So I just did some searching pretty much on YouTube. I think they have a few videos on their website that pretty much covers it. But I called down because I wasn't sure about the fluid. It takes the same amount of fluid and the same type of fluid that it used before. And we use the OEM 7590 for the front and OEM 75-140 for the back. But that pretty much sums it up. Big shout out to Northeast Power Sports again. They're the ones that were able to get this for us. I think these retail for $8.75 each plus shipping. I think the shipping was right around 50 bucks.
Yeah.
52, maybe something like that. And I had it in a few days from the, yeah, we needed two. But I had it a few days after they shipped it, and it came UPS. But hopefully this is, you know, a game changer for us. More confidence in doing some of the stuff that, you know, would normally avoid because of having the Visco lock. So hopefully there's some more good stuff to come. That's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys following along. Check out some of our merch on our Facebook page and get you guys hooked up with a shirt or a hoodie. Even if you want something other than, you know, the Can-Am crew, we got you covered. We do it all in-house. We have our own machine, the hot press or heat press and everything. So anything you guys want, we can make. Something with your name on it, or even for Polaris or Wildcat, whatever you guys want. So, but that pretty much sums it up. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.